Hi, Andrew here from You.InControl. This is the Universal Switch Quick Start video. Here we've got a universal switch setup. I've gone ahead and connected up 4 inputs to our device. Input 1, we've got a solid state switch. 2, we've got a button. 3, a tilt sensor. And 4, a limit switch. Now, to wire up the universal switch, we've got between 5 and 16 volts DC coming in. Positive here, negative. Now, negative acts as the common between all the different inputs. And the way you would wire this up is from the negative, run it to any input you have, and the switch will ground that to the specific input, however you wire that up. Right, now, how can I make my inputs now control things on the You.InControl system? And we're going to walk through that. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go to the devices page on the controller, and we're going to add a device. We're going to enter the pairing code, and on the back of the device, your code might be different from the default value, and you can use the rotary dial to change that. Right and left to go across. When you're ready, double tap. Here's where we're going to pair the device. So we're going to press the system button on the device, followed by induct when we're ready. So we're going to press the system button and induct. Induction success. Let's go to the device and we're going to enable it. Now, with our 4 inputs, we actually have 2 options when we set them up. For input 1, which is going to be our solid state switch, we actually have 2 options. So in our other videos like the remote, and as you've seen on the controller, you've seen multi-click. So that's short presses, double short presses, long presses, and so on. But here we've actually got activating state switch. Right, and we're actually going to do that for our solid state switch. So now it's going to act a bit more like a normal switch. Right? The only difference is now there's one switch can now control as many things as you want to. Alright, so I'm going to set it up so we're going to turn on 2 outputs on our relay 8. So we've done the on, now we also need to do the off. Right, so when I now flick the switch, you can see that this is now on a constant state of being on, so we've actually set it up so these 2 outputs are going to stay on until such a time where it turns off. Right, so that's the first one. Now, let's use input 4, this limit switch, and we're actually going to activate multi-click on that. Now, for a double press, I'm going to activate turning on another 2 outputs for a set time. So now we have a solid state, and we've also got double press on our limit switch as well. So you can now start to see that you can actually plug in any sort of input that you want. You can have limit switches, solid states, buttons, any sort of switch, such as your tilt switch, now being able to control any You.InControl device through the universal switch. Now you can see that with any switch or grounding mechanism, you can now control outputs or devices using the universal switch on your You.InControl system. If you're looking for a more in-depth guide as to how the universal switch works or how you can use it, check out the user manual on our website. Until then, happy tinkering.